I still don't believe the hypothesis that the United States would launch a military action to take control of Greenland, an option that I clearly wouldn't support, and I've already put that in writing. Look, the Italian government is dealing with this matter on a daily basis. Well, we're talking about 400 days regarding the case of Alberto Trentini, but as we know, Alberto Trentini is not the only Italian citizen detained in Venezuela. We have done it, and we will continue to do so by mobilizing every available channel. These include political channels, diplomatic channels, and intelligence channels. We will not cease our efforts concerning this matter until, Mrs. Armanda can finally embrace her son again, I have spoken several times with Alberto's mother, and I clearly understand her pain and her difficulty. It's also very painful for me not to be able to give her an answer in the time frame I would like to, as I imagine you all know. After that, clearly, I want to express my joy at the liberation of Biagio Pilieri. What we understand, as you yourself mentioned, is that there is a release order that has not yet been executed, also concerning Luigi Gasparin. I am quite confident. I want to say that I truly consider the signal that was given by President Delcy Rodriguez to be a signal of very great value. A signal, it has been said, right? Let's say a unilateral one that goes towards pacification in the country. We welcome it fully, and I believe it can, let's say, also represent a very important element in the definition of new and different relations between Italy and Venezuela.
Good morning, welcome back, Madam President, and Happy New Year. I'd also like to refer to last year's end-of-year press conference because on that occasion you said you felt you could categorically rule out an attempt by the United States to annex Greenland. Now, today Trump is relaunching, says he's ready for anything. Macron speaks of neo-colonial aggression, and for the Danish Prime Minister, the end of NATO is at risk. So I ask you if you share these assessments, but above all, what is the red line that Trump cannot cross for Italy regarding Greenland? Thank you.
Well, as you correctly remember, we talked about it last year, and I want to tell you I haven't changed my mind. I still don't believe the hypothesis that the United States would launch a military action to take control of Greenland, an option that I clearly wouldn't support, and I've already put that in writing. I also believe it wouldn't be in anyone's best interest, and I think it wouldn't even benefit the United States of America, to be perfectly clear. This is precisely what was emphasized and reiterated in the official statement, which was signed by the most prominent European leaders. It's also important to mention that, at this current stage, let's say the hypothesis of some kind of intervention for the idea of taking control of Greenland has been ruled out, both by Marco Rubio and by Donald Trump himself. Well, I believe that the Trump administration, with its rather unique methods, shall we say, a little bit assertive, very assertive, is above all placing its attention, let's say, on the strategic importance of Greenland and in general of the Arctic area for its interests and for its security. It is a zone, an area in which, as is well known, many foreign actors are operating, and I continue to believe that the message the US wants to convey is that they will not accept excessive interference from other foreign actors in an area so strategic for their security and for their interests. But this is a subject that, from my point of view, directly involves us as well. I mean, it's a topic that objectively should be of great interest to us, especially in the aftermath, without even getting into the whole climate change issue, right? Given what that area can represent from many different perspectives. It's the very reason why, even within NATO, it has been decided that the Arctic region must be a top priority. It's the reason why they are also talking about it. Well, this topic is also being discussed quite extensively within the European Union. And I personally believe that from this particular point of view, especially considering we're clearly talking about nations that are all allied within the NATO framework, It should be NATO itself that needs to initiate let's say, a truly serious and more attentive discussion on this matter, if we want, to both reduce and alleviate the current pressure on the issue. Thank you. Giselda Vagnoni, Reuters.
Yes, I'm staying on the topic of Greenland, Mr. President, because should the United States actually proceed to carry out any interventions unilaterally on Greenland, what course of action should Europe take to defend itself and, its vital strategic interests in international law?
Well, when this particular option eventually presents itself, we will certainly discuss it. Europe was very quick to respond when, as you know, in the past few days, the tension, shall we say, significantly increased. I repeat, I think that the debate is not just a discussion that concerns Europe. I think that the debate is a debate that really must involve NATO. I believe that this is clear to everyone. The implications that a choice and an option of this particular kind would inevitably have for the future of the Atlantic Alliance. This is precisely the reason why I personally do not consider it to be realistic, frankly. After that, Europe certainly needs to, as I was saying, continue its work within the NATO framework. Italy is one of the few nations that is preparing for a greater pre-sea presence. Let's say, NATO's presence in the Arctic region. It's what's written in the statement of the main European leaders. It's also in NATO documents, though perhaps we should be more concrete, and what the Italian government is also working on. One thing I can tell you, and they've been working on this for quite some time now, not just in the last few hours, is that by the end of this month, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will present an Italian strategy. Regarding the Arctic, we ourselves understand how strategic and truly important it is today to focus on this area of the world, and we are doing our part. Then, Minister Tajani and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whom I would like to thank, will present the contents of this strategy. But what exactly are the objectives? To preserve the Arctic region as a zone of peace and cooperation. Let's say, to contribute to the security of the region. To assist Italian companies interested in investing in this particular area, and I believe that the topic of research, encouraging research in a region that is clearly a territory that for us is particularly strategic, especially for studying the issue of climate change, and we are also taking responsibility for doing our part. So, I would rather focus on prevention, and the most effective way to prevent problems that could lead us to much more serious consequences is to ensure that there is a serious and significant presence of the Atlantic Alliance, of the Allies, in the Arctic, and, let's say, that also involves Greenland, and that it can therefore to jointly address a concern that I understand is held by the United States, which is about avoiding excessive interference from other actors who could potentially be hostile. We would be the very first European nation to offer a truly tangible and concrete contribution to security of the Strip for the implementation of the peace plan. Clearly, we are talking about security forces that are being formed to then guarantee the security of the Strip. We are the first European nation, we will be the first European nation, and that is not something that surprises me. I am absolutely convinced that Italy can play a truly unique and fundamentally important role in this delicate and very important journey, because we are respected by all the actors involved, by all the actors in the region, by Israel, clearly, but also by the Palestinian National Authority, as has been demonstrated by the presence of President Abu Mazen al-Tatre, and not only the countries of the Gulf, as was demonstrated by the fact that Italy was invited for the very first time.